I talk to a lot of people in this community, whether it's through the comment section, our Discord server, and one of the main things that I hear over and over again is people saying that they're just not having fun anymore with the game. But is it actually a problem with the game? Is it just people? Or is there more to it? Let's talk about it. YouTube, what's going on, man? It's Father Dark. I'm recording this on a Thursday evening. By the time a lot of you hear this, it'll already be Friday, so the 4.5 season update will be here. I'm pretty excited about it. I'd recommend you all get excited about it as well. We're getting Daredevil finally, and I'm not going to lie to you. Even if Daredevil releases and he's not very good, he's not broken, he's just mid, I'm going to be main in Daredevil. One of my top 5 favorite comic book heroes of all time. So, like I said, even if he's not good, I'm going to make it work. And by the way, too, just out of curiosity, I'm going to, after I record this video, I'm going to go see the new Tron movie. Let me know in the comments, is there anybody who actually cares about the new Tron movie? Any Tron fans? I brought it up a few times to some people, and people just kind of seemed like they didn't really care. But as a massive Tron fan, I'm pretty excited about it. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get into the video. So like I said in the intro, a lot of people seem to be at a point with the game where they're just not having fun anymore. And I always find this interesting because this is something that happens with a lot of games, right? So I know there's a lot of people that always, whenever I bring up any topic like this, they get very defensive. And they're like, oh, well, you guys are just saying that the game is dead. And first of all, I'm not saying the game is dead. I'm fully aware that when games release, there's always like this massive influx of people that rush to the game just because it's new, it's something different, especially when games are free to play because they're so easily accessible. So there's no real like risk of like losing anything if you download it and just give it a try. So I'm fully aware. Okay, obviously when the game first came out, I had 600K players. Now it kind of fluctuates anywhere from between like really it could be early in the morning, it could be 30K people up to anywhere from like at peak hours and stuff where it's at around like 130, 140K. Sometimes a little bit more when you have new updates and people jump in to test things out, and then maybe they go back to playing a backlog of other games and stuff that they have. But more what I'm talking about is that initial high that you kind of get from games when they first come out and they're brand new, and people just really don't know what to do. And it makes me think of different times where games have released, whether it be any games I've played in the past, like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and not just regular Call of Duty, but like around the time when Warzone actually released for the first time. And there were these moments when these games first came out, and like I said, they're brand new. People don't understand what the metas are. They don't really understand a lot of the mechanics in the game. I remember when Fortnite first came out, people didn't use building for anything really. They would use building to like get to like the top of an actual building or a mountain or something like that if there was a chest up there. And I saw this change where people didn't use building at all. And then I remember like Ninja and I can't remember the other guy's name. There was another guy around the time that was really popular. But these guys just started doing simple things like building some stairs in front of someone while they were in engagement, like a wall and some stairs. And that made a massive difference when they were taking engagements because other people would just stand out in the open where there was like zero cover because the map used to be very empty then. And yeah, people were just like, whoa, you can use building when you're in engagement with somebody. And that kind of changed things. And then it got to the point to where people started building multiple levels, like it'd be like a little small 3-story building or something like that. Then people started building doors and windows and stuff to like shoot people through. And I saw the progression of that go from just like people simply building things or making these simple designs to anytime that you shot at anybody in Fortnite, immediately like a shopping center got built within like 3 seconds. It was just ridiculous. And then it just went to a level to where now they build and edit so fast that even people that have been there from the beginning that just, either stop playing or, want to come back, every once in a blue moon, whatever. It's too much to the point to where they had to make no builds. And that's become one of their most popular modes. And it was the same thing with Warzone. When Warzone came out, people had no idea what the meta was. People just kind of did whatever. I remember like I used to make my ARs like close range with like all of this recoil and stuff. And then I would use like SMGs with like really long attachments on them for long range engagements. And then it got to the point to where every single content creator was making meta guides and all of this stuff. And it got to a point to where in higher skill lobbies, people, you knew that if you got deleted, you were going to be able to immediately pick up somebody's loadout and that it would be almost identical because everyone knew exactly what the best loadouts were mathematically. We knew exactly what the fall off was, the damage range, the best everything to use on everything. And the reason that I'm bringing this stuff up is because Marvel Rivals has had the same problem. It first came out, it was new. a lot of people, there were a lot of people that had came from games like Overwatch and other hero shooters and stuff like Team Fortress, things like that. But then you had a lot of people like myself that had maybe touched Overwatch a little bit before but hadn't really played it. And you had the excitement too of all of these new characters. I mean, Marvel Rivals released with a decent amount of characters. I can't remember how much exactly, but I'd say, well, let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure it was around 30 characters or so plus, somewhere around there. So there was this honeymoon phase where people were coming in and we were just doing different things. People hadn't developed a dislike and a strong hate for Jeff yet. Same thing with Black Widow. There was just a lot of things that people were allowed to do, and people were just loading in and they were having fun. But the problem is that eventually every game starts to become really competitive. That's just what happens. When they first come out, people are just trying things, they're laughing, they're joking. There's no big deal. It doesn't matter what you use or what you don't use, how you play, how you don't play, whatever. And then games always kind of take this transformation where a lot of the player base that is just there to have fun, they're usually casual gamers. They usually have multiple games that they play. They have to work, go to school, they have lives and stuff like that. I'm not saying that other gamers don't, but like I said, there's two types of gamers, and obviously there's probably more, but I'm just keeping this short and simple in this regard. But you have, like I said, the casual gamers that they're just out here just having fun doing their thing. They play whatever they feel like whenever they feel like it. And then you have people like me that they pick a game and they kind of know life it and try to figure out as much stuff as they can about that game and get as good as they can at that game. They might play other games every now and again, but for the most part, you really lock in on a particular game. And the problem with that is kind of like what I was talking about earlier about how if people actually just want to have fun in the game, it becomes a problem for people. And what I find funny about it is that usually in these videos when I'm talking about people doing particular things or not doing particular things, I think a lot of people get confused. I'm pretty much only referring to ranked. When I play quick play, I do not care what people do. To me, that is a casual mode. That's literally what it's there for. It's quick play. Even the developers said themselves that quick play is a place where you're allowed to try new things and just develop and hone your skills and stuff. Whereas in ranked, that's where you take the skills that you have acquired, and that's where you try as hard as you can. And you may have fun playing a particular character, but if that particular character isn't meta or it's just not really working with a team comp, you should be expected to switch to try to get that win. But there are a lot of people that have gotten to the point to where even quick play is very serious for them. I've seen people raging and getting upset and telling people how to play the game in quick play. And like I said, that we have to agree to disagree on, because I do have a lot of people that come in and they say, well, I can't play ranked with my friends that are on different platforms or something. Maybe they're on a PC and I'm on a console. So quick play is all we have. And I just get tired of, people selling my matches and not even trying. And the thing is like, if you need to be able to practice a character, where else are you supposed to do it at? Like in the AI mode and Doom matches and stuff? Yeah, that gives you kind of like a general idea, but it's a lot different from actually playing against people. And there was a time when people would say, oh, well, I can't really get an idea of how I'm going to, be able to utilize this character like I would in ranked if I'm not playing in ranked. Quick play is not going to do it. Like I said, the last couple of days, I've been learning a bunch of DPS and playing quick play a lot, going on my second DPS villain arc in anticipation for Daredevil coming out. And one of the things I noticed is that my quick play matches almost feel sweatier than my ranked matches. It's like people are out here playing like they're like they think FaZe Clan is watching, or they're about to be, accepted into the next esports team. I regularly joke that I think a lot of these people think that they're in a tournament. Like I was saying earlier, this always happens when the game first comes out. People are, even content creators, they sit back and they make videos and they're just having fun. They're doing different stuff. They're laughing and joking, and then you always start to see this transformation where it turns into a hero guide and what's the meta, and people start to break things down. And a lot of times they're not just breaking it down like lightly. It's a situation where they're like, mathematically, this is the best character to use for this. These are the best team comps. When you're going up against 3 tanks, maybe you want to use a storm, or when you're going up against this, you want to use this, or whatever the case is. And that deters a big part of the player base from wanting to play anymore. When you load in and you say, well, I just want to play this character because it looks fun to me, or I think Jeff is cute, or whatever anyone's logic is for wanting to play a character. And when you do that and you start to alienate the casual base, well, what are you left with? I mean, we've even run into this problem in our Discord server, and this is something that I just have to be honest about because it is a realistic thing. In the server, one of the biggest things that we have is our customs. And I've tried so many different times to keep it to where the custom matches in the Discord server are just a thing where anybody can come in of any skill level and have fun. But the problem is that when we first started the server, that is what the case was. You had people of all different levels. You had people that just started playing the game that were bronze. You had in between, like gold and platinum and stuff like that, players like myself. You had people that were far higher, like celestials, one above alls, and all of that kind of stuff. Like I said, you had everything in between all of that stuff. And these people were able to come together and have a good time. People were able to play roles that they didn't normally play. They were able to play characters they wouldn't usually play, test things out, have a good time. And then eventually it got to a point to where it became there was no more casual customs. It was only sweaty customs. I mean, these things were no different than scrim matches, where everyone was trying their absolute hardest. These people that had become actual friends, not just people in a Discord server, got to a point to where they started knowing, like, hey, this one guy, he plays Squirrel Girl. He's a really good Squirrel Girl. Let's ban his Squirrel Girl. And then if you picked another character, another role that you weren't as good with, and you were trying to try something out, people would start to take it personally and say, oh, well, this person threw my matches. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is just a custom match. But at the end of the day, though, you have to ask yourself, what is fun to most people? And at the end of the day, fun to a lot of people, not everyone, but fun to most people is winning. I say this all the time, but no one loads into a game and expects to lose. That's just not realistic, and it's not practical. Most people have fun when they're winning. And even if you are losing, you want the loss to feel as close to even and fair as humanly possible. You don't want it to be a situation where it's like, oh, we had this Widow on our team and we just couldn't do anything because the Widow was just sitting there and they were missing all their shots. So you're going to expect that person to want to play a character that you feel like they're going to get more value out of. And a lot of times it's funny because you'll have characters that people think are bad in the game because they initially don't really see what the use of them is. And like I say, even with Widow, I used to think that Widow was a throw pick. I would immediately go, oh my God, I got a Widow on my team. And then somewhere around like I'd say like toward the end of season 2, early season 3, I started getting these Widows that were absolutely amazing. Sometimes they would carry the game. I started to realize like, oh, well, it's not that Widow is a bad character. It's just that the majority of people just didn't understand how to use her kit and weren't skilled enough to really get the full value out of Widow. Same thing with Jeff. A lot of people used to think Jeff was a throw pick until I started the server, back in like season 1. And we had a person join our server who was an amazing Jeff player, amazing, and carried most matches that we played together on Jeff. And now you have more and more people that are picking him up and becoming better and better with him, right? But I do think the topic is interesting. I'm not going to make this one a super long video. There's lots of stuff that I could go into detail about and lots of different things that I could cover and talk about. But honestly, I'm starving, so I want to go grab something to eat before we go catch this movie. But I am curious to know what you all's like thoughts and opinions are. Are you still actually having fun with this game? Are you being kept around because of the competitive nature and you're trying to get better? And like I said, that can be fun for some people, but I do feel like there's a difference between like you playing to have fun by winning and you playing to genuinely have fun. Like how many of you actually just play this game and you actually laugh and joke around with your friends and have a good time? How many of you even have friends that still play this game? Have they been turned off by how competitive it's gotten and how, you can't even just try different things and stuff like that without people getting upset and trying to clown you or assuming that a certain character is really bad or whatever the case is? I'm also curious, what is exactly fun for you all? So these are just some things that I wanted to kind of present to you all. Like I said, I'm not going to take forever with this video. I am starving, and I'm really excited to go see Tron. I'm a huge Tron fan. I probably watched the last Tron movie like at least 50, maybe 60 times. So definitely want to go catch the new one and see what they're getting up to. But yeah, I'm Father Dark. I do appreciate you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.